Hello, and welcome back to the Wildly Wealthy Woman podcast. Today, we are talking about creating 5K in 5 days. And I'm going to share with you the questions that I ask myself when I want to hit a goal like this, but also the deeper emotional tapping work that goes on around it. We're going to walk you through this today. And if you want to tap on this topic with me in real time, I invite you to come to the 21 days of tapping and affirmations starting this November. If you've never tapped with me before, this is the best place to start. If you've been tapping with me for years, this is a great way to refresh your practice. And this 21 days is going to be different from the rest. No two sessions are ever the same. I'm changing, you're changing, but being in a container with people in the 21 days, setting your intentions together, being very clear on what you're manifesting is straight up magic. And so I invite you to join us this November. It's $21. Go sign up right now. Stop what you're doing, press pause, go to the show notes, and make sure you join us because you do not want to miss this tapping session on 5K in 5 days. So let's dive into today's episode, generating 5K in 5 days. Now, there are some practical steps. There's questions that I ask myself anytime I want to call in any amount of money. So if you want to do 20K in 2 days or 100K in 30 days, the first question that you want to ask yourself is, why do I want the money? What is it for? Now, this might seem obvious, but there's a caveat to this question. And that is, if you are calling in the money just to pay bills, I want you to ask for more than what you need and call in and create the money that is connected to something fun. Okay, so this leads us into the first two steps of this process. So number one, what do I need the money for? Why do I want it? And the question number two is, how can I have fun calling in or creating this money? So that might be in the different creative ways that you can generate the money. So one of the fun ways that I am creating money right now is through hosting VIP days. I've been invited to speak at a few different places next year. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to be in these locations. Wouldn't it be cool to see some clients while I'm there and have a wildly wealthy woman day where we start the morning in nature? We go to the spa. We go for an amazing lunch. We go shopping. We create content. We tap together in person. And we really spend a day dedicated to you embodying your wildly wealthy woman identity. And all of a sudden, this was just a fun idea that came to me while I was out for a walk. I posted it and already, boom, had people buying. And this makes creating that money fun versus forceful. So I want you to notice the frequency you are asking for or creating the money in. Am I creating this because I'm forced to call it in, or am I creating it because it's fun? And I know many people right now are forced to call in or create more money. The economy, it's crazy. Things are wild right now. But I want you to always ask yourself, how can I make this fun? So maybe it's in the offer, or maybe it's in having enough money to do something fun for yourself. And get really specific and clear what that number is, why you want it, and what you're doing to create fun around it. Okay, so that's the first two steps is what do I want? Why do I need it? And what fun can I attach to it? Number three is, what creative ideas can I come up with to generate that money? And start to think about, like I did, the VIP days. That would be really fun that I haven't done before. This is also an opportunity for you to look at your data. Look at where you are already creating money and look at what things are generating the most. Do more of that. Okay, so this is something I ask myself. If you're in my membership, you know this. At the top of every month, I ask myself, what's working? What's not working? Money tells a story. So I'll look at, oh, this person came in at a $33 offer, and then they came in at a $555 upsell, and now they're a one-on-one client. Okay, well, that idea worked. Can I do that idea again? Or can I do an idea similar to it? Okay, so looking at different creative ways that you can generate that 5K. And remember, the key feeling is not from force, it's from fun. So what is fun for me to teach right now? We've been talking about this in sales school because we went through the 6-figure launch formula. And then I talked to them about having micro or mini launches after you have a big influx of people, because the mistake that most people make is when they start to have success, then they slow down. That is a huge mistake. When you start to have success, double down on what you're doing. Allow that momentum to keep growing. And so that micro or mini launch method is phenomenal for bringing new people in and consistently selling them the next best thing. And we also want to make sure that we're excited to buy what we're selling. And this is a question that I ask myself every single week. What am I selling this week? And why am I excited about it? Why would I buy this offer? And if I can't answer that with conviction, then I know that there's some tapping work to do. So question number 4, what's already going well? Now, this isn't just in your business. This goes for every area of your life. So when I did this practice today, I wrote down and celebrated my daughter's volleyball team won gold this weekend. And it was so cool to watch that because these girls just started a year ago. I helped them form their club. They were last in the league and now they're first. And I've watched them incrementally grow bit by bit. It taught me so much about the power of consistency and sticking it out. There's been so many days when they wanted to quit, but they didn't. And so noticing that's a celebration. Does it have anything to do with my 5K in 5 days? No, but it gets me into the energy of celebration. I also celebrate little things like, when you sign up for the 21 days, you're offered upsells. I've had a large percentage of people buy the upsells. I've also had people buy the one-on-ones with me. I've had multiple one-on-ones this month, and I know those will lead to bigger and more long-term sales. So really getting detailed on what's going well for you. I often get into the mindset of Abraham Hicks, right? Everything is always working out for me. And let me tell you a story about what that looks like right now. Also looking at celebrating some of the deeper things. I'm doing some really deep work right now in my own tapping practice with my practitioner. And that's something to celebrate. Each week I can see how the needle is being moved a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And that I'm feeling more peace. I'm feeling more grounded. I'm in this flow of manifestation and abundance. So remember that celebrations aren't always the big, flashy, fun things. Sometimes it's our willingness to do the hard things that we need to acknowledge and celebrate too. I'm also celebrating that I've been recording in-person podcasts and that I'm doing it to the best of my ability. I am not an expert in videography whatsoever. I'm recording them on my laptop. I bought a very cool Sony camera off of Amazon. It's supposed to be a YouTube camera. I've been recording. I do have no idea even how to get that recording off of the camera into my computer and producing it. But hey, I took the steps and I'm learning and I'm taking one step at a time. And I bet you there are little things in your life that you are doing that you haven't acknowledged yourself for. And when you start writing these things down, you will get into a momentum. You will shift your mindset into a state of receiving. And this is one of the key things. If you're going to call in 5K in 5 days, your emotional state, your energy is everything. And so my number one practice to call in 5K in 5 days is obviously through tapping. And one of the first questions we ask when we're going through a tapping session like this is, what part of me doesn't believe this is possible? Because what most people do is they just ignore the elephant in the room. They ignore the part of themselves that holds resistance. And we need to do the opposite. We need to invite her forward and tell her, hey, I see you. What's the resistance you have around calling in this cash? Why don't you think we can do it? You need to tap with her, give her a voice, let her be seen, let her be heard. And in tapping school, we teach a process. It's called bridging the gap. And in between, getting from where you are right now to where you want to be, that becoming stage. The middle of the bridge is where we start to use forgiveness statements. So to shift that part of self that doesn't think you can do it, we want to give her a voice, tap with her, and then we want to shift into statements like, I forgive myself for believing that this is too big of a number. I forgive myself for believing that I can't do this. I forgive myself for believing that I don't have the power to create this, that it's impossible for me, or that it's hard for me, or it can't happen right now. This is when you are in the season of becoming. And what I want to talk about in the next half of this podcast is really embodying the woman that's become it. And a lot of people come to me to tap with me one-on-one at this stage. They've been in the becoming and they're ready to become it, become the wildly wealthy woman. And so one of the practices that I do is I like to think about, my wildly wealthy woman and where she is. And today when I did this visualization, I saw her in this beautiful house with big windows by the lake. And it reminded me of my childhood. And when I was young, my family had the biggest house in town, like my cousins, my aunts as well. My family was very well off in that season of their life. And I imagine myself, because I'm on my cycle right now, in this big house, being cozied up on the couch, just like I am in my current space, and watching my Sunday preachers that I love to watch, and just feeling this very normal day, right? On your cycle, curled up on the couch, the fireplace is going, it's raining outside because it's fall, but you're in this atmosphere of spaciousness, abundance, but you're just being yourself. And that's one of the things that I think blocks a lot of people from becoming their wildly wealthy woman. It's they make it such a big leap subconsciously that they think I'm going to be in this big house, have this perfect life, and I'm never going to have any problems. And I've heard Mel Robbins say, one of the best manifesting techniques is not just creating the big vision, but thinking about the hard steps you have to take to get there and really making it normal. So I saw myself today in this big, beautiful house, but having a normal day of like, yeah, I'm on my cycle, I'm on my period. I just want to be cozy in bed. And that it doesn't have to be something so extravagant or out of the ordinary, but making it very normal. This is what we talk about in the Wildly Wealthy Woman Tapping and Manifestation course, which, by the way, if you love this conversation, my Black Friday offer coming up this November, you're going to love it. If you love the manifestation course, if you love these sorts of topics, if you want to really work on getting out of the becoming season into the I have become her, I have a really exciting offer coming up this Black Friday. So make sure you keep your eye out. You come check out my page on that day or get on the wait list when it's ready, because we're going to really be going into this in 2026. So remember, becoming versus being. For years, I thought I had to become her. And when you say that, the becoming says, I hope that one day I can. Versus being it is, this is already mine right now. I am living it now. I am experiencing it now. And that's what I did this morning on the couch while I was watching my preachers. I closed my eyes and I allowed myself to experience it now. I'm doing the same thing I would do on an ordinary Sunday like this in a bigger, expansive space that feels normal, that feels comfortable, that feels good for me to be in. And allowing myself, visualizing and allowing myself to see myself in that space, I asked myself, why not now? Why have I not allowed myself to have that now? And the big one for me was worthiness. You don't deserve it yet. You got to work harder for it. And so that was my tapping practice today. So I invite you to do this as well, to do this practice of creating 5K in 5 days, or pick the number that you want, going through the steps, but then really inviting yourself through your own tapping practice to look at, where am I still saying, I hope one day I can? And what would it look like for me to say, this is already mine now? This is what I'm experiencing now. In tapping into your wildly wealthy woman. If you've never tapped into your wildly wealthy woman before, go to my YouTube. There's a wildly wealthy woman tapping manifestation practice. It's phenomenal. And you get to meet your wildly wealthy woman in real time. And what I've done with people over the years, hence these VIP days and these masterminds that I run, is when you meet your wildly wealthy woman in that meditation, you need to bring her to life. Whatever you see her wearing, whatever location you see her in, whoever you see her with, go buy the outfit, go book the photo shoot, go and bring her to life. This is something we talk a lot about in my mastermind. This is the core of our mastermind. Stephanie, who's my partner in creating the content portion of it, she talks about how everything she has manifested is through this practice of creating it visually first. So I wanted to answer some questions that I know that you might be having around this topic. And before I share those questions, I'm going to share one last piece on giving and receiving. So I mentioned that I love to listen to preachers every Sunday. And right now I am hearing a few of them in particular really talk about getting into the spirit of giving. And before allowing myself to really listen to them, I could hear my mom's voice in the back of my head, because I was raised Christian, but my mom was very opinionated about other Christians that asked for offerings or asked for money, because we never did that. We just always gave. And so I kind of had some judgment listening to this preacher this Sunday around asking people to give. But as I listened, I realized that my mom's judgment was actually blocking me from abundance, because in the conversation that I was listening to today and have been for the past few weeks, they're really showing you that when you give to anyone, to anything, you are saying that you believe God has got you. You are believing in abundance. When you give, you are allowing God to come in and support you even more. The importance of keeping money, keeping resources moving. And so it was such a huge reframe for me to really understand that a lot of times when we want to do something like call in 5K in 5 days, it's not just about making offers to the world and asking for sales. It's also about, what can I give? And maybe that is money. Maybe that's $10, maybe that's $100, maybe that's $1,000 or $10,000. And they interviewed 3 or 4 different people that shared their stories of not having much and giving and being abundantly blessed shortly after, or being blessed but giving all of their profits away and then going on to have their biggest months in business ever on record. And so I'm going to share the link to that if I can find it, if it's available. But it really helped me reframe my opinion on giving to other people, like giving money away, giving to charities, giving to your church, giving to your community. I always give in my time, but I've noticed where I had this belief because my mom said, oh, it's like not a good look for churches to ask for money. But churches and people of faith often are creating and coming in and helping people in times of need. I know there's probably differing opinions on this, but it really does highlight what are my beliefs about money? What are my beliefs about my faith? And one of the things that I've always believed is that my source of income is not from my clients. It is not from my business. It is from God. And when I'm giving, I am acting like God. I am acting in abundance, knowing that I do not need to be attached to how or where money comes from, because I am always connected to the source of infinite abundance. I am a child of God. I am always, always taken care of above and beyond my needs. So I'm curious your thoughts on this, and where you could allow yourself to get into the energy of flowing this week, allowing money to come in and allowing money to go out, and maybe giving money to, or giving your time, or giving something. Like I've been giving to my daughter's volleyball community. It gives to me more than I have words for. Watching those girls rise, watching those girls push through the hard days and be dedicated, and I don't get anything from it other than just getting to experience their growth, has been some of the deepest fulfillment I've ever experienced. And so there might be a millionaire or multiple millionaires listening to this. This is a Wildly Wealthy Woman podcast. And maybe you have lots of money, but you haven't thought about giving from a place of really thinking about, who do I want to give this to? Where do I want to flow this out from? Because money and fulfillment and purpose are very different things. And as a wildly wealthy woman, we get to have all of it. We get to have both. So going into some of the questions that I thought you might have around this, how does tapping actually help me shift from fear into abundance? And it goes along with what I mentioned around the 5K in 5 days. Tapping meets you where you're at and takes you where you want to go quickly, because we are working with the consciousness that you are currently in. So tapping says, okay, you want to create 5K in 5 days. Fantastic. You want to become the woman that has it now. Great. But where are you right now? Right now, there's some resistance. Right now, there's some fear. Right now, there's some doubt. Tapping allows you to address that, to clear it, to say it out loud, to bring the elephant in the room forward so that you can say it out loud. And sometimes, and almost all the time when we tap, we start to realize these are the things we've been thinking and feeling, but we haven't said out loud. These are so silly. This is not who I am. This is not what I believe. And so allowing yourself in tapping to address the fear first will then help you move into faith and abundance. And as I mentioned, there's that bridging moment, that moment of, I don't think I can do this, to I forgive myself for believing that, to I give myself permission now to believe that I can. to I am living this now. This is my new reality. Okay, so tapping will take you through these 4 steps, these series of statements that will really help you anchor into that version of you that is being it with, I would say, authenticity, with congruency, with integrity, not forcing it or faking it, but actually feeling it. Okay, the next question is the 21 days. What if I've already done it before? Should I sign up for this one? The answer is absolutely yes. Only if you want to be in a manifested state, you want to create a daily practice of tapping, you want to feel ending this year like you are tapped in and turned on to the most powerful version of you. If you want to manifest one thing right now, come to the 21 days. We are going to do it together. I always say tapping is better experienced and explained, but honestly, if you're not in the 21 days, you are missing out. Every single person that comes is absolutely blown away. Even if you only do one session, even if you quit after 3 days, they are blown away at the result and how quick this works for you. So even if you've already done it, come again. Being in a container with people that are focused on intention is very powerful and activating. So a couple other questions I thought you might have around this topic is, how can I give when I feel like I don't have enough? So my philosophy has always been we have to release in order to receive. It's a cycle, it's a flow, it's a circulation. And if we aren't giving because we are in fear, we are stalling that process, that flow. And so remember, it's not about draining yourself, but it's about opening up the floodgates and starting to make things move, circulate, getting that river of abundance flowing again. One of my favorite affirmations is that more is always on the way. It's saying to the God and universe, I trust that more is coming. It's never about the size of the gift or the amount that you're giving, but the energy behind it. And when you give from faith, even when it's small, it's activating a ripple effect. It shifts your focus out of lack and into overflow and abundance. When you start to give from that feeling of overflow, you realize that you're not losing anything. You're actually creating space for more to come back into your life. So release to receive is real. You know, in my community that we practice this all of the time. And even if you're not giving a lot, giving something really activates the identity of you in you, that you are a woman of wealth, of abundance, of being the lender, not the borrower, even if it's just a small amount. The next question, what if I'm behind on bills? And I work with women at all stages, and even women that make a lot of money have money pressure. It's actually just usually bigger amounts than the average person. First of all, I know how heavy that can feel, so acknowledging it, doing your tapping around it is the most important thing. And I know these moments can lead us to feeling like we want to shut down, but this is when regulating our nervous system matters most. This is where, like I mentioned, we can lean into tapping, into remembering I am a well-supported woman. Even when I can't see how yet, being behind doesn't mean I'm defeated. It means I get to anchor into deeper trust and see God provide in ways that might make no sense on paper. So don't let fear make my decisions. I am letting my faith lead. And I invite you to write down all the times that God provides, the universe, spirit provides for you when it made no sense at all. Create a journal in your phone or in a notebook so that you can read it when you go through moments of fear or contraction. I also asked ChatGPT, this is how I would answer it, but how would some of my favorite faith spiritual leaders answer it? And the answer to what if I'm behind on bills, it said, when you're in a season of pressure, it's easy to let fear take over. But this is when your faith matters most. God hasn't brought you this far to leave you. God's spirit universe is a provider, has already lined up the resources, opportunities, and favor that you haven't even seen yet. So don't let the enemy or negative forces convince you that where you are is permanent. Delays are not denials. Trust that God can make a way even where there seems to be no way at all. And that's what faith is about. And ask yourself today, am I rooted more in my faith or more in my fear? I also asked the question, how can I give when I don't feel like I have enough? And this is the answer it gave for some of my spiritual teachers. You may look at what you have and think this isn't enough to make a difference. But when you put what's in your hand into God's hands, He multiplies it. Giving isn't about what leaves your life, it's about what you're making room for. When you give in faith, even in a small way, you open up the door for God to pour blessings back into your life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. You can't outgive God. Okay, and the last question is, how can I trust that this will work for me? My response is that trust builds over time. Every time we take one small step, act of faith, we take one action before we're ready. That's when we start to feel our confidence build. Trust grows through movement. You don't have to see every single step in the staircase. You just have to take the next one. And when you do, momentum will build, evidence shows up, and the next moment, the next step is revealed. I also asked this question to my trusty ChatGPT, what would my spiritual teacher say to this? And it said, you may not see how it's all going to come together, but trust isn't about seeing, it's about believing. God put dreams in your heart for a reason. He knows what he's doing, even in the waiting. One small act of faith can set a miracle into motion. Don't talk yourself out of what God is trying to talk you into. You have everything you need to step forward. And as you do, doors will open that you couldn't have even imagined or opened on your own. So to close off today, I want to take you through a visualization. And I want you to, as long as you're in a safe place to do so, take a moment to close your eyes. I want you, if you're in a safe place to do so, to go ahead and close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I want you to see yourself walking from being in that season of becoming into that place where I have become. See yourself arriving in this space, this next level space, where you have transformed and you have become your wildly wealthy woman. Notice where you find yourself. Notice what you're surrounded by. I've walked from the season of becoming to I have become, I did it. I am her. This is what I've dreamed of. It is my reality now. Feel yourself in this space. Notice your feet on the ground or on the floor. Feel what it feels like in your body to be here, to have arrived at this destination. Allow the feelings of gratitude, connectedness, love, and joy fill your space, fill the room. Breathe in the energy of that space. Now, don't just see the results of this outcome, but see the steps you took to get there. See the brave little actions you made. See the celebrations that you had. Feel the steadiness of who you've become every step of the way. Feel the pride. Feel the joy and safety of receiving all of it. And this is your reminder. You're not just becoming a wildly wealthy woman. You already are her today. Thank you for listening to the Wildly Wealthy Woman podcast. If this episode spoke to you, please leave us a 5-star review. Let us know that you loved it and share it with a friend. Here's to calling in your next 5K and really owning the wildly wealthy woman that you are. See you next time.